Imagine this. You're in the midst of a chaotic workday. Your inbox is overflowing, your phone is buzzing with constant notifications, and there's a deadline looming over you. Then, in the middle of all this, something unexpected happens. A colleague interrupts you with criticism, and your first instinct is to react. Your heart races, your thoughts spin, and the stress begins to build. But what if, in this moment of turmoil, you could choose a different response? What if, instead of giving in to the pressure, you chose to stay calm, to pause, and to control your reaction? This might sound impossible, but the Stoics believed it is not only possible, but essential. They taught that true strength doesn't lie in how loud we can shout or how fast we can act, but in how still and composed we can remain when life presses in on us. Marcus Aurelius, one of the greatest Stoic philosophers, once said, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts." So what if I told you that your greatest strength isn't in fighting against life's chaos, but in mastering your inner peace? Can calmness truly be the greatest form of strength? How can we learn to be more like the Stoics and cultivate this powerful virtue in our daily lives? In this video, we will explore 10 Stoic lessons that will not only help you survive life's storms, but turn them into opportunities for growth and wisdom. In today's world, stress is a constant companion. From the pressures of work to the never-ending demands of technology, we are constantly bombarded with distractions, deadlines, and responsibilities. Anxiety and stress have become so commonplace that many of us view them as unavoidable parts of life. We rush from one task to the next, reacting to everything around us without taking a moment to pause, reflect, and choose how to respond. But what if I told you that there is a way to break free from this cycle? What if you could live a life where you are not constantly driven by external events, but instead you find peace and power in your ability to control your inner response? This is where Stoicism offers profound wisdom. The Stoics believe that our true strength comes not from controlling the world around us, but from mastering our inner world. They taught us that the only thing we truly have control over is how we respond to the challenges life throws our way. Stoic philosophers like Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, and Epictetus lived through some of the most turbulent times in history, yet they remained composed, focused, and resilient. They didn't avoid hardship, nor did they resist it. Instead, they understood that their power lay in their ability to remain calm, rational, and unshaken, regardless of external circumstances. In today's world, where we face constant distractions, social pressures, and uncertainties, their wisdom is more relevant than ever. In this video, we're going to dive deep into the Stoic teachings on calmness and strength. These 10 timeless lessons will show you how to cultivate inner peace, respond to challenges with wisdom, and ultimately lead a more balanced and fulfilling life. Whether you're struggling with stress at work, facing difficult relationships, or simply looking for a way to feel more centered in a chaotic world, the Stoic way of life offers powerful tools to help you not only endure, but thrive. By learning to control your thoughts, embrace discomfort, and let go of unnecessary attachments, you can unlock the strength that lies within you and navigate life's challenges with grace and resilience. The first lesson in mastering calmness comes from focusing on what is within your control. One of the central tenets of Stoic philosophy is the idea that we should direct our energy and attention only toward the things that we can influence and let go of those that lie beyond our control. Epictetus famously said, "We cannot choose our external circumstances, but we can always choose how we respond to them." This is not just a comforting thought, it's a radical shift in perspective that can free us from the constant stress of trying to control everything around us. Consider a moment in your life when you felt overwhelmed. Perhaps it was a demanding project at work, a difficult conversation with a loved one, or an unexpected personal setback. In each of these situations, we often feel as though we are drowning in a sea of circumstances that we cannot change. We try to fix things, force outcomes, or control other people's reactions. all while becoming increasingly frustrated when things don't go according to plan. But this endless striving only amplifies our stress. Now, think of how things might change if, instead of battling against the uncontrollable, you focused on the one thing you can control, your own actions and responses. Imagine being like a skilled captain on a ship navigating through a storm. The wind and waves are beyond your control, but how you steer the ship, how you choose to respond to the turbulent conditions, determines whether you will make it safely to the shore. This mindset shift is powerful. It allows us to relinquish the illusion of control over things that are inherently uncontrollable, such as the actions of others, the economy, or the weather. Instead of feeling victimized by circumstances, we gain clarity and peace by focusing on our own behavior and attitude. You don't have control over the external world, but you have complete sovereignty over how you choose to respond to it. In practice, this Stoic lesson means that when faced with a stressful situation, you can pause and ask yourself, what part of this is under my control? If it's something external, like the actions of others or an event in your environment, let it go. But if it's something internal, such as your thoughts, reactions, or attitude, focus on that. Take responsibility for your own emotional state, knowing that by doing so, you regain your power and calm. By shifting your focus away from what you cannot control and honing in on what you can, you free yourself from unnecessary stress and emotional turmoil, creating the space for true strength to emerge. The second key lesson in Stoic philosophy is the power of perspective. Epictetus reminds us that things are not bad in themselves, but our opinions about things are. This teaches us that our emotional reactions to events are often shaped not by the events themselves, but by how we interpret them. What might initially appear as a setback can, with the right perspective, become an opportunity for growth. Conversely, what we might consider a success can lead to frustration and dissatisfaction if we view it through a narrow or skewed lens. Consider a situation where you receive critical feedback at work. In the moment, it might feel like a personal attack, triggering feelings of insecurity or anger. You may want to lash out or defend yourself. But if you take a step back and shift your perspective, you may realize that the feedback is not about your worth as a person, but an opportunity to improve and grow in your skills. The very feedback that initially feels like a sting could, with the right mindset, be seen as a gift that helps you develop into a more competent professional. This Stoic lesson teaches us that we have the power to choose how we interpret every situation. Instead of allowing our first emotional response to dictate our actions, we can take a moment to reflect and choose a more constructive and calm perspective. This doesn't mean ignoring the negative or pretending that everything is perfect. It simply means recognizing that we have the agency to change the lens through which we view life's challenges. For instance, when things go wrong, whether it's a missed deadline, a disagreement with a friend, or a traffic jam, try to reframe the situation. Ask yourself, what can I learn from this? How can I grow from this experience? By approaching every challenge with the mindset of learning and growth, you transform even the most frustrating circumstances into valuable lessons. In daily life, practicing this perspective shift might look like stepping away from a stressful situation to take a deep breath rather than reacting immediately. It could be as simple as reminding yourself that a difficult conversation is not an attack on your character, but a chance for deeper understanding and improvement. The ability to see beyond the immediate emotional reaction and find the hidden value in every situation is a hallmark of the calm and resilient Stoic mind. By practicing this, we unlock the power to remain steady, no matter what life throws our way. The third Stoic lesson we can learn is the importance of recognizing impermanence. Marcus Aurelius, in his Meditations, reflects on the transient nature of life with the words, "Time is a river that carries me along, but I am the river." This reminder that everything, good and bad, is temporary helps us navigate the ups and downs of life with a sense of peace. The chaos, the stress, the happiness, the suffering, all of it is fleeting. By embracing the impermanence of every moment, we reduce our attachment to outcomes, expectations, and the fear of loss. When we view challenges as permanent fixtures in our lives, we create unnecessary suffering. We feel overwhelmed by the weight of a difficult situation, as though it will never end. But when we shift our perspective and remember that every moment is temporary, we begin to understand that no hardship is forever. The pain you feel today will eventually fade, just as moments of joy eventually pass. This doesn't mean we should become indifferent to life's events or numb ourselves to our experiences. Rather, it means we can approach every moment, whether joyous or difficult, with a sense of detachment, knowing that it is just one part of a larger, ever-changing process. Think of a time when you felt caught in a difficult situation that seemed like it would never end. A challenging project at work, a strained relationship, or a personal setback. In the midst of it, it likely felt as though the struggle was never going to resolve. But with time, things did change. The project ended, the relationship shifted, or the obstacle you faced eventually was overcome. In those moments of discomfort, we often forget that this too shall pass. Incorporating the Stoic understanding of impermanence into our daily lives can be transformative. When faced with stress, remind yourself that it is only temporary. When you experience joy, savor the moment fully, knowing that it too will eventually fade. This awareness helps us engage more fully with life, free from the constant fear of holding on to what we cannot keep. By accepting the impermanence of all things, we gain the ability to face both success and failure with equanimity. Success doesn't inflate our egos, and failure doesn't crush our spirits. Everything is in constant motion, and we are part of that flow. This acceptance helps us find calmness, even in times of turbulence, knowing that whatever we're experiencing now will eventually pass, making room for new experiences, growth, and change. The fourth lesson in Stoic philosophy is the mastery of self-discipline, specifically in controlling our impulses. Epictetus, in his teachings, emphasizes, "No man is free who is not master of himself." The idea is simple but profound. In order to cultivate true strength, we must first learn to control our desires, impulses, and automatic reactions. In a world filled with distractions and temptations, mastering our impulses allows us to stay focused, maintain inner peace, and respond thoughtfully to whatever life throws our way. Think about how often you've reacted impulsively, whether out of frustration, anger, or desire. Maybe it's snapping at someone during a stressful day, or indulging in something unhealthy when you're feeling down. In these moments, we are driven by our impulses, acting in ways that don't align with our values or our long-term goals. We let our emotions dictate our actions, leading us further away from the calm, controlled responses that Stoicism advocates. Now imagine a different scenario where you choose to pause, take a deep breath, and reflect before reacting. Instead of allowing your emotions to lead the way, you respond with intention and thoughtfulness. This is the Stoic ideal, not to be controlled by external forces, but to control how we respond to them. Every time we pause and reflect before reacting, we build self-discipline and emotional resilience, strengthening our ability to stay calm, no matter the situation. A modern example of this is when faced with criticism at work. It's easy to become defensive or to react impulsively, but a Stoic approach is to take a step back. Instead of reacting in anger or frustration, ask yourself, what is this feedback telling me? How can I use this to improve? This pause, however brief, allows you to take control of your response and maintain your peace of mind. It gives you the strength to engage with the situation calmly and constructively. The key here is practice. Self-discipline is not an innate trait. It's a skill that we cultivate over time. By consistently choosing to pause before reacting, we train ourselves to respond thoughtfully, not impulsively. Each moment we practice this is an opportunity to strengthen our ability to remain calm, steady, and in control. The more we practice self-mastery, the more powerful and resilient we become. In mastering our impulses, we unlock the power to navigate life's challenges with grace and composure, just as the Stoics did. The fifth lesson in Stoic philosophy teaches us that discomfort is not something to be avoided, but rather something to be embraced. Epictetus wisely said, "The greater the difficulty, the more glory in surmounting it. Skillful pilots gain their reputation from storms and tempests." Stoicism encourages us to view discomfort, adversity, and challenges as opportunities for growth and development rather than as obstacles to be feared or avoided. Think about a time when you were forced to face something uncomfortable. Perhaps it was a challenging project at work, a difficult conversation with a loved one, or even pushing through physical fatigue during a workout. Initially, the discomfort may have felt overwhelming, and your instinct might have been to avoid it or give up. But when you look back, you can likely see how that discomfort led to growth. You learned something new, developed a skill, or gained resilience in the process. The discomfort itself was not the enemy, it was the catalyst for your growth. In modern life, we often avoid discomfort at all costs. We seek immediate gratification and ease, whether through distractions like social media, comfort food, or mindless entertainment. But by avoiding discomfort, we rob ourselves of the opportunity to become stronger, both mentally and emotionally. Stoics believe that by willingly engaging with discomfort, we build the strength to handle even greater challenges in the future. A practical example of this is the way we approach failure. In a society that often values success above all else, failure is seen as something to be feared. But Stoics teach us that failure is merely a stepping stone on the path to mastery. If we can embrace failure as part of the process, if we can learn to see discomfort as an essential part of growth, then we free ourselves from the fear that holds us back. We no longer shrink from challenges. Instead, we lean into them, knowing that each challenge is an opportunity to improve. In daily life, this could look like intentionally choosing to face difficult situations head-on instead of avoiding them. It might mean taking on a project that stretches your abilities or confronting a difficult truth in a relationship. By willingly embracing discomfort, we not only build the strength to endure life's hardships, but also develop the resilience to thrive in the face of adversity. Just like a muscle grows stronger through resistance, our character grows stronger through the discomfort we endure. The Stoic way is not to shy away from hardship, but to embrace it, knowing that through discomfort comes growth, and with growth comes strength. The sixth lesson from Stoicism is the importance of detaching from external validation. Epictetus famously said, "Wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants." The Stoics believed that true freedom and peace come from within, and one of the ways to achieve this is by letting go of the need for approval or validation from others. When we constantly seek external praise, we give away our power, allowing others' opinions to dictate how we feel about ourselves. In modern society, the desire for validation is everywhere. Social media amplifies this constant craving for likes, comments, and approval, making it easy to become consumed by what others think of us. We may dress a certain way to fit in, change our behavior to please others, or even sacrifice our values to gain acceptance. The problem with this is that we are basing our sense of self-worth on something unstable: other people's opinions. These opinions can shift in an instant, and when we rely on them for our happiness, we make ourselves vulnerable to disappointment, frustration, and insecurity. The Stoics understood that the pursuit of external validation is a trap. When we seek approval from others, we are putting our happiness in the hands of people who may not even have our best interests at heart. Instead of relying on the opinions of others, Stoicism teaches us to turn inward and find our worth within ourselves. We are enough as we are, without needing to be constantly affirmed by others. A modern example of this might be the way we approach career success. It's easy to measure our worth by promotions, salary increases, or recognition from colleagues. But the Stoic approach would be to focus not on how others perceive your work, but on doing the best work you can, regardless of recognition. The satisfaction comes not from the praise you receive, but from knowing you are living in accordance with your values and giving your best effort. To practice this Stoic principle, begin by evaluating your motivations. Why are you seeking approval from others? Is it to feel validated, or because you truly believe in what you are doing? Start to detach from the need for external approval and focus more on your internal standards. Remind yourself that your worth is not defined by how others see you, but by your actions, your character, and your integrity. The more we practice detachment from external validation, the more we realize that true calmness and strength come from within. We no longer need the constant affirmation from the outside world to feel at peace. Instead, we cultivate an inner confidence, rooted in our own values and sense of purpose, which cannot be swayed by the opinions of others. By embracing this freedom, we can live authentically, without the pressure to conform or the fear of judgment. The seventh lesson in Stoic philosophy revolves around the power of silence. Seneca, in his writings, tells us, "Silence is a lesson learned through life's many sufferings." In a world that constantly demands our attention and encourages constant chatter, silence is often overlooked. Yet for the Stoics, silence was a powerful tool for reflection, self-discipline, and clarity. It is in silence that we find the space to process our thoughts, confront our emotions, and cultivate wisdom. In modern life, we are constantly surrounded by noise, from the constant buzz of notifications on our phones to the never-ending conversations and distractions of daily life. It can feel like we are always in a state of mental clutter. In such an environment, it becomes incredibly difficult to find clarity or to truly connect with our inner selves. Without silence, we risk becoming overwhelmed, reactive, and disconnected from the calmness we seek. The Stoics understood that silence provides the mental space necessary for deep reflection. It allows us to observe our thoughts without judgment and to assess our emotions with objectivity. By embracing silence, we can create the conditions for better decision-making, emotional control, and self-awareness. Instead of reacting impulsively to every situation, we can use the stillness to pause, reflect, and choose a response that aligns with our values. Consider a moment when you were faced with a challenging situation, such as a disagreement with a colleague or a moment of frustration in your personal life. In the heat of the moment, it can be tempting to react immediately, to speak out of anger or defensiveness. But if you take a moment of silence, whether it's just a few deep breaths or stepping away for a moment to collect your thoughts, you give yourself the space to respond with composure. This brief pause can make the difference between a rash decision and a thoughtful, calm response. Silence is not just about abstaining from speech, it's also about creating space within ourselves to listen more deeply to our thoughts, our emotions, and even to the world around us. It's about being present in the moment and not allowing the noise of the world to drown out our inner wisdom. The more we embrace silence, the clearer our minds become, and the stronger our ability to respond thoughtfully, not impulsively. Incorporating silence into your daily life can take many forms. It might mean setting aside time each day to meditate, journaling to clear your mind, or simply turning off your phone and spending time in solitude. The key is to make silence a regular practice, allowing it to become a source of strength and clarity. In doing so, you will begin to notice how much more in control you feel, how much more grounded you are, and how much more peaceful your life becomes. Through silence, you create space for wisdom and calmness to flourish. The 8th Stoic lesson teaches us the art of accepting fate with grace. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Accept whatever comes to you, woven in the pattern of your destiny, for what could more aptly fit your needs." This wisdom reminds us that life is full of unpredictable events, and while we cannot control everything that happens to us, we can choose how we respond to it. Acceptance is not about passivity or resignation. It is about understanding that what comes our way is part of a greater unfolding narrative. It is about learning to flow with life rather than fighting against it. In modern life, we often resist change, whether it's an unexpected job loss, a sudden move, or the end of a relationship. We try to control outcomes, make plans, and predict every twist and turn. However, the reality is that life rarely follows a straight path. If we hold on too tightly to our expectations and desires, we set ourselves up for disappointment and frustration when things don't go according to plan. But by accepting that change is inevitable, and by embracing life's unpredictability, we free ourselves from the stress of constant resistance. Consider a time when things didn't go the way you hoped. Maybe you faced an unexpected challenge, like an illness or a personal setback. At first, you might have felt disoriented, angry, or fearful, but eventually, you may have realized that this new reality offered you an opportunity for growth. Perhaps it was through overcoming the challenge that you discovered new strengths or learned something valuable about yourself. The Stoic practice of accepting fate doesn't mean we passively endure hardship, but rather that we see it as an integral part of our journey, one that can offer wisdom and personal growth. This lesson is about letting go of the illusion of control and recognizing that some things are simply beyond us. We cannot control the actions of others, the course of events, or the unexpected twists of life. But we can choose how we react to those things. When we accept fate with grace, we stop resisting and begin to trust that each moment, whether challenging or serene, is exactly what we need for our personal development. In practice, accepting fate might look like embracing a difficult situation rather than trying to escape it. It could mean facing a challenging task without fear of failure, knowing that whatever happens is an opportunity to learn. When we stop resisting, we gain the strength to move through life with a sense of peace, trusting that the path we're on, no matter how winding, is leading us exactly where we need to go. Acceptance, then, becomes a powerful tool for maintaining calm in a world filled with uncertainty. By embracing what comes our way with grace, we free ourselves from the burden of resistance, finding strength in the flow of life itself. The 9th lesson in Stoic philosophy is the power of focusing on the present moment. Marcus Aurelius wisely reminds us, "Confine yourself to the present." In our fast-paced world, it's easy to get caught up in the past or the future. We spend so much time ruminating on past mistakes, missed opportunities, or regrets, and at the same time, we obsess over what's to come, worrying about the future, planning for outcomes, or fearing what may happen. However, both of these mental habits can rob us of the peace and clarity we need to live fully in the present. Stoicism teaches us that the only time we truly have is now. The past is gone and the future is uncertain, but the present moment is where we have the power to act, think, and live. By focusing on the here and now, we free ourselves from the anxiety of the future and the burden of past mistakes. Every moment presents us with an opportunity to make a choice, to respond thoughtfully, and to engage fully with our surroundings. Think about a time when you were worried about something in the future. Maybe you had an important meeting, a test, or a personal decision to make. In those moments, your mind is often consumed by what's ahead, how things might go wrong, or what you should do to prepare. But when you shift your focus back to the present, you can release that anxiety. The only thing you can do in the moment is to take the next step, not to worry about all the steps that may or may not come later. When you're fully present, you're able to do your best work, respond with clarity, and find peace in the simple act of living in the moment. In the modern world, distractions are abundant. Technology constantly pulls our attention away from the present. We scroll through social media, respond to emails, and jump from task to task without truly engaging with any of them. This constant mental multitasking fragments our attention and drains our energy. The Stoic practice of focusing on the present moment is a way to reclaim that energy and find a deeper sense of satisfaction in whatever we are doing. The next time you find yourself distracted by the past or the future, try to bring your attention back to the present. Whether you're working on a project, having a conversation, or simply sitting in silence, commit to being fully present. Engage with your surroundings, take a deep breath, and embrace the task at hand. By doing this consistently, you'll not only find that life becomes more manageable, but you'll also find yourself calmer and more centered, able to respond to each situation with the clarity and wisdom that only the present moment can offer. The 10th and final lesson in Stoic philosophy is the art of letting go. Marcus Aurelius speaks of this wisdom when he says, "It is not death that a man should fear, but he should fear never beginning to live." This lesson reminds us that much of our suffering comes from our attachment to things, whether they are possessions, relationships, or specific outcomes. Our desire to hold on tightly to these things creates fear and anxiety. Yet the Stoics teach us that true freedom and peace come from the ability to release these attachments, knowing that everything from material possessions to our very lives is temporary. In modern life, letting go is perhaps one of the most difficult things we can do. We hold on to our possessions, our routines, our identities, and our plans, believing that they define us or bring us happiness. But when we cling to these things, we risk becoming anxious, fearful, and unhappy. We fear losing our job, our loved ones, or our success. And in this fear, we are never truly free. We are bound by our attachments, unable to live fully in the present or accept life as it comes. The Stoic approach to letting go isn't about indifference or detachment from the world. It's about recognizing that nothing is truly ours to keep forever. Life is constantly changing, and we must learn to flow with these changes rather than resist them. This doesn't mean we stop caring about the people we love or the work we do. Instead, it means we recognize that nothing is permanent and that we must learn to release our grip on what we cannot control. A personal example of letting go might be when you experience a loss, whether it's the end of a relationship, a career setback, or the death of someone close to you. Initially, the impulse may be to hold on to what has been lost, to resist the pain, or to wish for things to return to how they were. But the Stoic wisdom teaches us that it is through acceptance and letting go that we find peace. By releasing our attachment to the past, we make room for new growth, new experiences, and new opportunities. We stop living in fear of losing what we hold dear and start living fully, knowing that everything in life is a passing moment. In daily practice, letting go could mean choosing to release the grip on your expectations. When you've done all that you can and the outcome is still uncertain, letting go allows you to find peace with whatever happens. It could also mean choosing to live more simply, focusing on what truly matters, and letting go of the unnecessary possessions or distractions that weigh you down. The more we practice letting go, the more we realize that we don't need to hold on to anything tightly to find happiness and fulfillment. True strength lies in knowing that we can survive without attachment, and that by releasing we are truly free. Now that we've explored the power of focusing on what we can control, let's take a closer look at how our perception shapes the way we experience life. When we change the way we see the world, we open the door to greater peace and wisdom, realizing that our reactions are often the root of our suffering, not the events themselves. Embracing a new perspective allows us to step back and respond with greater clarity, turning even the most difficult situations into valuable opportunities for growth. With this shift in perspective, we now understand that the ups and downs of life are temporary. This recognition is liberating because it allows us to let go of the weight of our worries and fears. The Stoic practice of acknowledging impermanence empowers us to release our attachments and face both joy and hardship with equanimity, knowing that nothing is permanent and everything we face will eventually pass. From here, it's crucial to reflect on how we respond to life's inevitable discomforts. Instead of avoiding discomfort, we must embrace it as part of the process of growth. Stoics believe that through overcoming challenges, we build resilience and strength. Just as a muscle becomes stronger with resistance, so too does our character when we lean into life's difficulties rather than shy away from them. Now that we've learned how to face discomfort with grace, it's time to turn inward and consider the impact of seeking external validation. As we detach from the need for approval from others, we begin to find strength in our inner selves. The peace we seek is not dependent on others' opinions, but on our own self-assurance. By cultivating this internal confidence, we can live authentically and with greater clarity, unaffected by the shifting judgments of the outside world. The more we focus on self-mastery and silence, the clearer our path becomes. Silence, in its true form, isn't about withdrawal, but about creating the mental space to reflect, reset, and make thoughtful decisions. In the stillness, we can hear our inner wisdom and discover the answers that the noise of the world often drowns out. It is here, in this quiet strength, that we can begin to practice acceptance, recognizing that our lives unfold according to a greater plan. As we embrace fate with grace, we can further let go of the need to control every aspect of our lives. By accepting what comes, without resistance, we free ourselves from the anxiety that arises when things don't go as planned. Trusting that life is unfolding as it should allows us to navigate the unknown with confidence and calm. Finally, as we live more fully in the present moment, we can experience life as it truly is, unburdened by the past or the future. Focusing on the present allows us to engage deeply with every task, interaction, and experience, knowing that it is in this moment that our power lies. By practicing mindfulness and presence, we become better equipped to respond with purpose and poise, regardless of the circumstances. In the end, the Stoic journey is about learning to release what we cannot control, accept what comes our way, and live in alignment with our highest values. Through these teachings, we can cultivate a calm and resilient mind, capable of withstanding the storms of life and emerging stronger each time. We have now explored the 10 Stoic lessons that can help us live with greater calmness and strength. From embracing what we can control to practicing silence, detaching from external validation, and accepting the impermanence of life, these principles guide us toward a life of resilience and peace. Stoicism teaches us that true strength is not about overpowering external challenges, but about mastering our internal responses to them. It's about cultivating a mindset that remains steady, even in the face of adversity. The journey to inner peace isn't about avoiding difficulties or striving for perfection. It's about learning how to face whatever comes with clarity, calmness, and grace. It's about shifting our perspective, embracing discomfort as a path to growth, and learning to let go of what we cannot control. Each moment, no matter how challenging, is an opportunity to practice these Stoic virtues and build a life of enduring strength. As you move forward, remember that these lessons are not something to simply learn, but to live by. They require daily practice, patience, and mindfulness. The more you embrace these Stoic principles, the more you will notice the shift in your own life. You will find yourself responding to stress with calm, facing challenges with courage, and finding peace even in moments of uncertainty. By living in alignment with the Stoic way, you'll not only cultivate inner strength, but also inspire others around you to do the same. Your calm presence in the midst of chaos will become a beacon for those seeking stability in their own lives. And as you continue this journey, you'll find that true peace comes from within, by mastering your thoughts, controlling your reactions, and living in harmony with the flow of life.